Hi, it's me, Carrie Silver Lining Mena, and I've just recorded like an hours long video of like the cliff notes of what's been going on for the past couple of months. But before I play that one, before that one's gonna play, I have another one that I recorded back in October, and I didn't get a chance to publish it. Some stuff was missing, and then I just didn't have time, blah, 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 blah. So I just decided this is a pretty significant story. I know I left things out, but I gotta keep on moving. Just gotta like forget some of that stuff. Fill in the blanks as best as you can. So the first half is me talking about what I discovered about the crazy, why I went so nuts 7 years ago. And then the second one is, my current situation. So if this video is too long, then take a break when the outfit goes back to this one. And I guess that's it. I always am like reluctant to shut this part down because then I remember something else. But I just got to get this thing going. So please, universe, please let me say all the things I really, really want to say. All right, you guys. Thanks again, and enjoy the crazy you're about to hear. There has been much growth, much evolution on my end. I have a whole lot more peace than I had in a very long time. Yeah, okay. I just remembered more things I could share, but I got to wrap it up. So thanks again for watching and supporting, and enjoy the videos coming up. Tell me what you think. Thanks. Bye. Hi guys, it's me, Carrie Silver Lining Mena. I haven't been around here in these parts for a long, long time, it seems. And because of that, I don't know, but I anticipate this being a very long episode. I really don't like to make them more than an hour. I wish I could keep it to like 45 minutes max. I got so much shit to say all the time. I feel like this one's going to be like a 2-hour episode. So if it gets really long, just cut it in the middle. Turn it into 2 episodes for yourself because I won't know when to shut up. But this is such a challenge for me to get to this place to put my fucking makeup on. It's such a challenge for me now that I feel like I got to puke it all out in this one episode and get it out of the way so we can move on. I really thought I'd be done, but I realized why I felt such a sense of completion or, what's next. So I think Silver Linings is, got a little bit more play in it, but I'll get to why I had such, like I said, such a huge sense of something being over. And I was right. I don't think it's silver linings though, not yet, because I see how my story is still kind of coming full circle in a way. Maybe not full circle. Maybe I just keep on going. Maybe my spiral just keeps winding. I don't know. Okay, so I had to give myself some notes, and I'm sure it's not complete. I might even pause. I don't know. Like I said, I got to puke this out, and I apologize if it's boring or, all over the place, but that's where I'm at in my life right now. So let me go way, way, way back to the middle of summer when, and it's relevant. I got to talk about this stuff because some of it's really interesting and it all builds on each other. So back in the summertime, just before, was it then? Okay, so I started to get like an ear infection, and this was right around the time that I was still driving up to Dallas, I think. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. Okay, so I had an ear infection coming on. I can feel it. When I was a little girl, I had chronic ear infections, and I know that pain. And it just starts off as like, it just hurts, and you just got to kind of freeze for a sec. So I decide that I can't go to Dallas with this ear infection coming on because they become very painful, and I don't want to hurt like that. So I went to urgent care, and I told the doctor that I had an ear infection coming on. And so he peeks inside both ears. He goes, "No, you don't. You have something." He asked me to describe my pain. He goes, "You have something called," and I'm going to say it wrong. I know I am. Something like trigeminal neuralgia. I don't know, but the is, TRI as in try. And there's like this nerve that goes like this, almost like a letter 3 or like a fork or trident. And it's really bad nerve pain. And it really hurt when I went to that urgent care. It doesn't hurt as bad now when it comes on. But on reading it, I realized that that's some serious shit. Like people call it like the suicide pain or something, because apparently it hurts so bad that people just don't even want to live anymore. But I guess that there's treatments for it and stuff. But When I went in for that urgent care, it was like past closing time, and the doctors were just, writing the scripts and getting you out of there. And that was okay. I appreciated that. But one of the treatments for this headache, nerve shit is a shot of cortisone. And remember how my hands were so fucked up? They were so bad that these were purple. They were so raw. And I had a dermatology appointment the following day. But this doctor gave me a shot of cortisone, and my hands started to clear up almost immediately. And they still are having their flare-ups, but nothing like it was. So this is what this segues into what's kind of next. Anyway, I went to the dermatologist and I got, some stuff taken care of. We took a biopsy, did a little stitch, and tried to see if I had psoriasis, arthritic psoriasis. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I didn't have that. It's what I thought it was, which is called dyshidrosis, which is a autoimmune response to stress. So every time I'm stressed out, my hands fuck up. So I was so fucking stressed over the summer because, I had my own mental illness come back. I'll explain why it came back, because that's interesting too. And then, my kids being so sick. It just went on and on. All the stress with my husband. I was going out of my mind. I had those 2 breakdowns. So my hands were so bad that I could not do anything. Everything hurt all the time. It wasn't just they hurt when, I did dishes or something. They hurt all the time. I'd walk like this. I'd wear gloves, medicine, wind, whatever. They were so incredibly painful. I would put them on the 10 pain scale, 1 to 10. They were an 11. I was even looking into disability because I'm I can't do anything. So my husband, I spend a lot of time complaining about him, but I also give him props for being really sweet and nurturing. And he really did step up to the plate, and he was in his element because he's such a mother hen, and he likes to take care of people. And I was at his mercy. I needed to be taken care of. So he had been doing all the chores, especially the ones related to water. He did the cooking and the dishes, and he did everything. Cause everything hurt. You use your hands for everything. One of the things I couldn't do was wash my hair because, first of all, I had the stitches and I could not get my hands wet, but it hurt. It hurt. The shampoo hurt. The water hurt. Touching my head hurt. So I had to be completely vulnerable to my husband. And, we still sleep naked in the bed, but we're so desensitized to each other that we don't even see each other. However, I haven't showered with him in a long time, but I needed him to wash my hair. I was getting pretty nasty. So he did wash my hair, and I was thinking, God, I'm dirty all over the place. And I don't know. I felt so uncomfortable with having him wash, my nether regions. I couldn't do it. So even though I had to be vulnerable to him and allow him to wash me, I couldn't let my girly bits get touched. So I just did the best I could. We have the removable shower head, and I went, underneath, trying not to get myself wet, but my hands wet. But, my husband and I are kind of on a path to healing our relationship as best as we can. And just based on that, I don't think an intimate relationship is on its way anytime soon. I felt that way for a long time, that we're just not going to reconciliate in that way. And that's okay. I'm actually okay with that. So that was that, is that, I felt like I couldn't be entirely vulnerable to him. I just could not be touched by somebody that I love and trust so much. Couldn't do that. Not even just to be washed. Isn't that interesting? And this is a man who, I should not confess this to you, but this is a man that I have let be so intimate with me that when I was pregnant and huge with twins, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but he was the one shoving the hemorrhoids back in when I couldn't reach. So, it would have just been for, hygiene purposes, but I still couldn't go there. But what's really weird about my hands? It's I lost so many layers of skin. A couple things happened. One of the things, which I don't even get, I don't even know if it's related to that or what, but all of a sudden I can pet my cat. I've been so allergic to cats my whole life. Well, when I was a little kid, not so much, but all my adult life, teenage years and adult life, I couldn't pet cats because it would itch me so bad. I have to be very careful not to touch my face that, blows up. But I can pet my cat now, and I love it. She's so soft. She's moved downstairs now. She used to live in Layla's room. But when Bug, I'm just going to call her Layla. I'm going to interchange. Layla's Bug, Bug is Layla. When Bug was up in Dallas, the cat tried a new spot, all the kids' rooms, and then back to the couch. So now she's the family cat and I get to pet her. That's so weird to me. And what's also strange is when my hands finally healed enough to be able to wash my own hair, I kept washing it and washing it. I'm like, God, my hair's so dirty. I can't get it clean enough. I'd get more shampoo and I'd do it again. But you know what happened is that my skin was so fresh and brand new that I had a completely different tactile sensation. And each strand of hair felt like a piece of string, like really thick and not, like a skinny strand of hair. It was like a big, it was like string hair. And everything I touched just felt so weird. Something that you would never consider. You get a new layer of skin. Now everything feels differently. And it gave me a perspective of like children or whoever, I guess adults too, but that have like that, like weird, they don't like to touch things. Everything feels weird to them. Totally different sensation. That was so interesting to me. Okay. So again, I'm going to try to do this in order, but who knows? Okay. So my husband and I, we go through our things where we're fighting and then we're friendly again. And it really is like a, ebb and flow. It's an up and down a lot. So he had this, I was really dreaded the schedule that he created for himself. He would work, he works regular, 5-8 hour shifts, but he has some flexibility where he can trade a shift with somebody else and work a double and then have an extra day off. Well, he decided to do that for 2 of his shifts. So he worked 2 16-hour days. And for the 5th day, because he has worked there so long and he's accumulated so much vacation, he just decided for the rest of the year he'd take 1 day off a week. So he was only working 2 days a week all day long. Those were my days off. Kids would be at school and he'd be at work, or Bug would be wherever she was. But anyway, I had the place to myself, and I hadn't, and even that kind of fell through a lot because I had a kid stay home here, there, whatever it was. But for the most part, he was home with me all week. And I was like, how am I going to survive this shit? And we fought a lot. I felt like, oh God, Monday's coming around, time to go back to work and, inner work with the man. But it was okay for most of it. And a lot of that was because, we do fight over our kids and the way we, handle stuff, but we also have a united desire to help them. So we've come together for this time in which our kids are struggling. I'll get into that a little bit. So he went back to brushing my hair every night, and he's such a man of routine, a creature of habit, that he created this routine. First it's the hairbrush, then it's that thing, that you go like this and it feels like fingers on your head. Then he does that. Then he does like those little hand massager on my shoulders. Then he does like some, just ticklies on the back. And then he does a braid, and then that's the end. We do it while we watch murder shows, the murder documentaries. So we had been bonding too. What was I going to say about that? Oh, well, see how my stories is, how they usually are all tangly. They're all stuck together. I can't believe I've only been talking for 11 minutes. That's crazy. Feels like an hour already. Okay. So one of the days, and I'm sorry, it's going to be all over the place. It's just my MO. One of the days I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to go way back. And I remember it was a reading that I had with Heather and Erik. And it was this year, but it was a while back. And Erik said something to me that pissed me the fuck off. Okay. I can't remember what it was exactly, what prompted him to say this to me. But he said to me that you're starting to remember who you are. And to add to that, my husband found this piece of paper, it had some notes from a reading, and I can't understand all of it. It's just like scribble scrabble. But one of the things it says is that the fantasy will be gone. Like I'm going to get over whatever my fantasies of the men. I talk about them all the time. So my fantasy will be over. But go back to when Erik said you're finally realizing who you are. And I said that really pissed me off because I was like, remember I've been saying for a while that I feel like I'm right back where I was before this journey started, that I'm just a fat, frumpy housewife sitting on the couch watching TV and taking care of my kids and fighting with my husband. Well, I am that same person again. I did go right back to that. Not only my hands had healed for a long time. I was so happy. I don't remember if I've mentioned it in my videos, but then the hands got really bad again. And then I went a little nutters and I had to go to the doctor and I got medicine and I got on the same medicine I was before. And then all of the symptoms that I was having before my awakening, all this stuff started happening again. And I'm like, I am going back to who I was before. And that made me so mad when Erik said that, because I'm like, I'm not the one that poured all the delusions and fantasies into my head. They are the ones, spirit, fairy girl, all of the, the spirit that would come in and give me clues and hints would tell me, remember this? That I'm going to fly around the world and put myself together through love and sex. Remember? I'd say that all the time. Well, I was sitting down one night getting my hair brushed and I was thinking, fuck, man, I don't want to go to Europe. I don't want to do all the work it's going to take to put myself back together. I'm already put back together. I already went to Europe. Ding. And then I realized those motherfuckers, I already did that work. I already put myself together through love and sex around the world. Except guess what? That was only a half truth, because I put myself together through unrequited love and fantasies of sex. I didn't get to have that big party that I've been fighting so hard to earn. And I understand that it's the healing that is the gift, the prize at the end of it. But that's not what you're fighting for, that whole journey. So I'm like, those motherfuckers catfished me. They tricked me. And made me believe I was going to have this relationship. And then that was never to be. And I was so pissed off at that. I was like, how? And of course I know it's fairy girl. I know it's my own choice that I decided this, but I'm mad at all of them because they all conspired with her to fool me. And then when he said, you're starting to remember who you are, it started to come back to me more and more and more. And I'd look in the mirror for the longest time because, I'm trying to deal with my image and my self-image and stuff. And again, when I look at this camera right now, because of the angle and the makeup and the lighting and everything, I look pretty good. But in the mirror, when I'm all mommed out, my hair's fucked up and I got no sparkles on and, I'm in my slobby clothes. I'm who I am. I'm a 50-year-old frumpy mom of teenagers. And I just look at myself and I try to there was such a dissonance of how I felt and what I looked like. And it would make me uncomfortable. But look at what happened to me in the meantime. Because, like I said, I'm really working on body image and I didn't even understand why I had that dissonance with looking at myself. It didn't even occur to me until a little bit later. So I have been feeling more, and then started looking at keep on looking at myself, whatever. I started to feel more and more comfortable with what I was seeing. And a couple of the ways in which that happened was they're funny ways. One of them was taking Bug over to what I like to call Camp Anorexia. She's in this intensive outpatient. She goes every day. Every day I drive her and I pick her up. That's almost done. Yay, Bug. But when I would drop her off, I'd see all the other moms of the teenagers and they were just like me. They were 40, 50 something year old women in their slobby clothes that they just threw on real quick, their flip-flops, no makeup, and maybe brushed hair, maybe a crappy ponytail. Whatever it was, they were just like me. We were all the same. And so seeing that day after day helped instill in me that this is who I am. It's okay to be this person. It's okay to be a frumpy middle-aged housewife / mom. And not only that, another thing that helped me with my image, this one's so interesting to me, is that, I used to love watching those housewives because I loved the glamour of it. I loved that they go on adventures and have fun with their friends and clinking their wine glasses and riding on jet skis, whatever it was. Why wouldn't I want that shit? Let's go to Italy. Woohoo. But I got kind of bored of that. I just rotate my interests. And so because my husband and I spend so much time together in the evenings, at least we did, his schedule changed again and that changed again, but whatever. I was getting my hair brushed almost every night. And we would watch the Dateline mysteries or whatever it is, all that stuff. There's so many good ones out there. I never was into it before. I thought it was dumb and I can't stand commercials. But, now that TiVo is a thing, I can fast forward through all that shit. And watching these shows instead of the housewives, I came to have self-acceptance through murder because all of the people on there are regular people. The housewives, they are not regular. They have teams. They have beauty teams. The people on the murder shows do not. And even the actors and actresses that portray like the real people, they're always prettier than the real ones, but they're still kind of regular people. They tried to match them as best as they could. So watching these shows gave me a real, and I didn't even put it together at first, but after I'm watching them, I'm seeing so many just regular people. That's what the world is made out of, regular people. When you watch The Housewives, they're all perfect. Whether you're from Atlanta or New York or New Jersey or Orange County or Beverly Hills or, any of them. They're all over the place and they're all, unrealistically beautiful. Whereas the murderers and murder victims and their families and police officers, they're just regular people. So as I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm seeing these moms and I'm watching these shows, I'm like really absorbing that I'm just a regular person. I didn't need to learn how to find myself beautiful. I didn't need to learn how to find, make myself feel pretty. That's not the point. I can have pretty days, but for me, the point was just accepting myself as I am. I'm regular. I don't need to be now in retrospect, I see how I felt a pressure to be beautiful. That's how I was, found worthy. Same thing with my body. And mostly it was my body because I could spend 3 minutes and put on a few sparkles and I feel better about myself. But, there wasn't anything I could do. I couldn't put some sparkles on my belly. So I was stuck with that part of being ugly. I could not, do anything to rectify it except for reprogram my thinking. So no, I don't love my body's the way it looks. I don't, but I'm okay with it. You know why? Because I have a regular body. It's regular. I'm a regular person with a regular body. And my body has done so much for me. It has let me abuse the fuck out of it and it still gets me where I need to go. So I'm learning to have appreciation for it in ways other than standardized beauty. How beautiful is it that I got to grow humans inside of me? That's beautiful. It's a different kind of beauty, but you go, Belly. You go. You did it. You grew humans. I'm an alien too. So that's been like my path to self-acceptance. And I keep trying to dig in my brain. Do I really have self-acceptance? And I remember I had all my closets full of clothes that don't fit me with tags still on it. Cause, I just, I didn't have any reason to wear any of the clothes because of the pandemic. And then that's when I gained the weight, was during the pandemic. So they're all just sitting there unworn. And, so I had to go out and buy bigger sized clothes, and it made me really sad, and I hated myself, and I was just mortified and humiliated. And then I've been so busy, I haven't cared about what I wear. I just wear I put on the same dirty clothes that I wore yesterday because all I really need to be dressed for is to drop Bug off and pick her back up. And a lot of the moms, they show up in the same clothes as the day before. We're just a whole bunch of slobs. But I did have some occasions to put better clothes on. I don't remember why. Maybe an anniversary date with my man, or maybe a date with Sarah. I don't know what I was doing, but I put on shirts that made me feel really, really ugly several months ago, but I put them on and I'm like, that's okay. I can handle this. And it made me want to go out and buy more clothes because I'm at a place now where I've accepted my body. I don't love the shape of it, but I've accepted that's who I am, and that's not how I need to be valued. So I got a little bit excited to find clothes that fit this size. And I'm just, I've been really processing about beauty and stuff. And, I feel like people that are recognized as beauty, just the pressure that they have to maintain that, you look at somebody, and I'm going to use Megan Fox again. I probably have before because that's somebody that Bug likes. That's who she would they would flip through pictures of him. And I got so mad. I'm like, you unfollow her. She's too beautiful. She's giving you an unrealistic standard of what you need to look like. And even Megan Fox, she's been in the feed about having body dysmorphic disorder. And I feel like, on the outside looking in, you go, man, if I looked like her, I'd have everything I needed. I would just be the best. I wouldn't worry about anything. But that's not true, because she has more pressure than the people that have come to accept that, they are lumpy, round, scarred, whatever it is. So she has that huge pressure to stay beautiful, to be beautiful, to always, fit into this fucking box that somebody else created. So, and not only that, I've noticed too that more men are coming up with, dysmorphia and things like that, or saying, it's not helpful. Like one of them was, what's his name? Jonah Hill. Is that his name? The guy who lost a bunch of weight. He's like, I know you're complimenting me, but it doesn't help. I don't want to be valued on my body. Knock that shit off. And there's another guy, I don't know his name, but he's from the new movie, The Eternals. And he said that he got all beefed up for the role. He never thought twice about his body. But once he, got all ripped and had pictures taken of him and posted, he got a lot of comments on it, and that created in him an anxiety. Now he's hyper aware of his body. And so he was, it almost created a body dysmorphic disorder in him. There have been a couple other men that have talked about that stuff. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because my boy, Josh, he's also, identifies as non-binary, and he goes by the name Kalash. He made that name up for himself, but I do still interchange. I'm still trying to learn it. So anyway, Josh is Kalash. But Josh started and okay, I have to just put this on pause for a sec. I actually did my video with Michelle a couple weeks ago, but I haven't reviewed it yet because I've been waiting to do this video so that I am not influenced by the things that went on, and that I'm dying to see it. I'm dying to listen to this really, really long message I got from some energy I've never heard of before. Anyway, I'm probably going to watch that later today. But in that video, I talked about this a little bit, that Josh is experiencing some body dysmorphic disorder, and he doesn't see himself as he is, because he's actually a very good looking kid. Look, he's mine. Just kidding. Just kidding. But for real, he comes from a decent a decent pair of jeans. That's funny. So he really is good looking, but he realizes that he has autism, and so he's read about it, and people with autism sometimes have asymmetrical features. And I can see what he's talking about if I really, really study his face, but it's nothing I ever see. I don't see it, but on him, it's he hyperfixates on it, and that's part of the autism too. He hyperfixates on stuff. So when I was talking about the music and all that in the video with Michelle, I learned now that this fixation is the autism. How do I not know this? So anyway, Layla and her path and helping her with her anorexia, now I'm on the path to help Josh. So his is slightly different. A long time ago, Erik told me that, he gave me his own diagnosis, and it didn't have anything to do with ADD and autism, and everything to do with him being an insectoid and, incarnate. Maybe it's like a starseed thing, like Heather and Magenta are. I don't know. Is that her name? Magenta? Fuchsia? I don't know. The pink Octurian that she is. So according to Erik, he vibrates at a higher vibration than the Earth's frequency. So he's always not feeling like he's in his right skin or whatever. But medically or scientifically speaking or whatever, it's autism and ADD. So, those two things are exacerbating the depression that he has and the normal teenage insecurities he has. And I don't know if you've also read in the feed that many young people are having a lot of dysmorphic issues these days because of Instagram. Instagram has fucked with with the world. And, it's with all the same stuff as diet culture, but, you can take the diet out of it. He doesn't have an eating disorder, but stuff filtered photos and perfection and all that, it got him. So he too, like me and Bug, he is doing the same thing that the world at large is doing. So he's, in his own way, he's going to experience, learn, and maybe through me, maybe his own journey one day, teach about mental illness, dysmorphia, how Instagram can fuck with people, and, all of this stuff. Not only that, with his autism, he has something called rejection dysmorphia disorder, rejection syndrome. So I don't know what it is, but what it is whether it's a true rejection or a perceived rejection, he takes it so hard, he cannot handle it, that he crashes. He's in an insane depression. And I didn't, I'm only just learning all this stuff. So, I was glad to see that there is a reason for him to get so I don't know what word to use, distraught, I guess. So right now, actually, what he's doing right here, he's home from school. He's in the other room, and he's got all these electrodes taped to his head, and his head is wrapped up. He actually looks like he's got like a knitted cap on, and I keep, asking him if he's, this isn't inappropriate. I keep asking him if he's going to go pray to Allah now, because it looks like one of those caps that they wear. So he's got to be like tethered to this machine, which is interesting because his sister had to be tethered to the feeding machine with the tube up her nose, and she named it Larry, roll Larry around. Well, he's got his own Larry. I don't know if he named his Larry, but he has to wear like a little like backpack with a machine on it, and there's all these wires connected to his head, glued. It's glued to his head with the thing on top, and then the wires all come out and they're attached to this machine. This machine is like Wi-Fi connected to a camera that's in a backpack, so wherever he goes, he can like leave for 5 minutes to go pee or grab a snack or whatever, but if he's going to be anywhere for any length of time, he has to take this camera with him. And it's a 65-hour test, and they're testing the brain waves, and I don't really know what's going to happen with it, but what they do with it, how they diagnose it, and what they do with the information they have. But I'm just really grateful to be getting us on track. The next thing that I'm going to push for, at first I was like, I'm going to give him the option. I don't know. I'm going to try to get my husband on board and see if we can't force him to do this thing called peers. And I can't remember what the acronym is or whatever, but it's basically a group for adolescents and teens to learn how to, with autism, to learn how to socialize, date, learn empathy, things like that. And, years ago, I was told in a reading that at one point, Josh will meet with like minds and get the help he needs. And this was like 3 or 4 years ago. And every time something new comes up, I keep thinking, oh, this is it. This is when he's going to meet with like minds and get the help he needs. Maybe this is it at last. I don't know, because so far it hasn't happened. Okay, so that's what's going on with, okay, let me give an update about Bug then, because this kid, I understand that these challenges are meant to grow us, to self-empower us. So as scared as I was and worried as I was and, hurt for her, I never lost my faith in the end, in the silver linings behind the journey, the light behind the dark. And I'm seeing so much improvement with her. She truly has become self-empowered. She's learned how to set boundaries with her dad, her brother, me. She's ignoring the friends, and the friends are like the asshole friends, and they're being kind of dicky to her, telling her that she's being selfish for not messaging them back. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck them, because, you can't help that you had an opportunity to grow yourself and they stayed the same, and they're not going to understand it. They're very immature, and she sees it. It's still hurtful to her that they're talking to her like that, and I'm not sure how to deal with it yet. This is like what's going on right now, but she has found her voice. Remember a long time ago, I don't know if you saw it, but when Heather Trance channeled Baby Alice in the future and Star Fairy wouldn't talk because Star Fairy didn't have her voice yet, and she's Bug too. So now Bug has found her voice, and I'm so proud of her. She has so much insight, and she has like taken spirituality and run with it. She's upstairs. I bought her like a spell book, a witchcraft book, and it's basically energy healing and manifesting and intention setting. It's stuff like, if you want to create boundaries with people that are putting too many demands on you, light a blue candle and draw a stop sign. And so she's doing all this thing, and I understand that you don't have to have these rituals, but if they, if you believe in the rituals, it works for you. It's like anything else. It's whatever motivates you. So, there's validity to what she's doing. So she's getting into crystals. And last night I had her go climb outside in the full moon inside the copper pyramid that my friend Judy Ray bought me. Remember Judy Ray? She kind of fell off a little bit. I got to message her soon. So she's doing all of this woo-woo stuff. And she was doing like the chi ball, get her energy ball. And I put my hand, I'm like, you're doing it. Anybody can do it. But yeah, she's so into it. And I'm so stoked for her about that. I love it. She's wearing crystals around her neck and I don't know, that's pretty cool. I guess she is following in my footsteps. Okay, let me see. Oh, and just to back up a little bit. Okay, let me see. Okay, I did that. Catfished. Okay, and this I'm just going to throw in, but when I was looking, it was on my anniversary like a month ago. And I was looking for pictures to make my husband like a sentimental photo gift. And scrolling way, way back into my album, I found the screenshot of a message that I sent myself. And it said, something like, pay attention to the patterns. They're notes from a reading. You don't want another one of them. And when I wrote them, the E had 2 dots, like Michael's dots. And I thought at the time I thought it was somebody else, but that just fizzled right out. The next guy didn't come for quite like a year later. So and by then I didn't remember that there was another guy. I don't even know why they gave me a warning, because I just feel like there's no way I would have been able to stop it. It was just like, instant. It's like, bam, I'm hooked. I couldn't have slowed that roll. So I don't know what the warning was about, but it irritated me when I saw it. Okay, so let me go back to you're starting to remember who you are. Oops. So who I am is me. I'm a mom of 3. Well, I don't like the word housewife. It sounds so unglamorous. A homemaker? I don't even know if I'm that. Anyway, I have so much stuff to do, whatever you want to call it. But I work for my kids. They're my employer. And my husband too. Like I've said, he's like the parent of me when it comes to taking care of like Maslow's lowest level of hierarchy of needs. And I'm a little bit higher. I couldn't do my job to help teach us about, enlightenment shit if he didn't do his job down here. So I'm absolutely not belittling his role. It's integral. We can't do this one unless he's doing that one. So, okay. So looking at myself in the mirror and seeing that I'm a regular person, that was one of them. Accepting that I'm a mom, all that stuff, watching the murder shit. And then realizing as my husband's brushing my hair that I don't want to get up and go to Europe, and realizing I already did it. I got catfished and I'm done with that part. All of these things. And then you're finally starting to realize who you are. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's like the big epiphany. Well, one of them was that I already went to Europe and put myself back together. And can you imagine how disappointed I was with that? I was like, I have been looking forward to this thing for so long. And like in my brain, I always tell Fairy Girl, I'm like, fuck, when it comes to Michael, I'm like, either give him to me or set me free. I'm done with this, because I feel like I'm waiting for something to either happen or not happen, putting myself back together through love and sex around the world. Well, now that I realized I already did it, I don't have that. Is it going to come? Is it not going to come? So that pressure's off. And that pressure also helped me, that pressure being off, helped me accept myself as I am. I don't have the pressure of being a young, beautiful girl for these men around the world. They didn't put that pressure on me. I did. But I don't have to have that pressure anymore. So I am enough. I say that to myself all the time. I'm fine just the way I am. I don't need to be anything else for anybody else. I am just fine the way I am. And it's like I kind of have an attitude when I say that, like, fuck all y'all for thinking that I need to be anything that I'm not. But the reality is that nobody put that expectation on me except for me. So I'm all pissed off at the world, but really I'm the only one that's a hater. Anyway, I love me. So, okay. So what I realized happened, and I can't fucking believe that I didn't put this together. I believe that I'm either really, really stupid, or I wasn't meant to hear this information until now. I've been downloading a lot too. I've been getting a lot of like ear ringing, like more than normal. I know I went through some shit. I know I had an upgrade. So what I realized was, and I've been saying stuff like, yeah, I had another consciousness, a past life dump right into me. I had all these memories. I had all this stuff, and I went crazy. You know what I did? That was a fucking walk-in. Mary Anna was a walk-in. And not only was she a walk-in and poured right into me, and I became 2 motherfucking people at once, because rather than, like a regular walk-in, or the more popular, according to the internet, is that when the walk-in walks in, the other one walks out. Well, Carrie didn't walk out. Carrie stayed there. So what I did was look, they're constellations. Isn't that cute? So what I did was a soul braid, where I integrated the 2 consciousnesses. And I remember, I've told you many times that I went crazy and I had scribbles in my brain, and it was like being drunk without the bad equilibrium. Like I just couldn't concentrate on anything. I felt really heavy. I used to tell Michael, it's like I'm Jabba the Hutt. I weigh 2,000 pounds, and I'd try to text him messages, those long love letters. I'd write him all the time. And this was before because I was like pretty naive. When I started this stuff, I didn't have like personal like electronics. So I didn't know about autocorrect, if that was even a thing back then. I don't know. So he'd have to decipher these messages I'd send him, because I couldn't type. And I'd tell him, man, I can't even get up to make my kids a fucking sandwich. He was so cute and naive. He's like, well, maybe you got too high. I'm like, bless your heart. Because as far as I'm concerned, you cannot get too high. But it wasn't that. I've been a chronic stoner for, many years. I could not get too stoned at that point in my life. Now I know it was my body trying to acclimate to two energies. I short-circuited. I went nuts. I did have borderline personality disorder because I was two personalities, weaving in and out between the two of them, sometimes having both at once. And do you remember, I don't know, I'm going to remind you, a long time ago with Allison on Shiny, we interviewed my DNA, and it said, I was showing me walking on like a pier or something, and the waves were crashing on either side of me, and she goes, your DNA is at war with itself. My DNA was fighting. Well, now I know I had two pieces of DNA running through me. I guess spiritual DNA. I don't know. I can't believe I didn't put together that I was a walk-in, because all of the things I said points to that. But I feel like the reason that that's been dumped into me right now, that realization, is because I was kind of they gave me clues all the time, because they told me about, like, when I was talking to Jean-Francois, and he told me that at one point Heather and I berated, and Jean-Francois and Howard Hughes berated. None of us were who we are now. I'm just using these names that we know. We all berated just so we could have a car crash together. So, they gave me lots of hints a long time ago, and all of the words, that Fairy Girl used about I absorbed, all this stuff. And I knew I felt something funky. But because I was here, I didn't know that a walk-in did not walk out. And I knew I never left. So I never put it together. I can't believe that. So I think that the reason that I'm learning this stuff now is because my kids might be doing the same thing. I've mentioned before that my son is transmuting for a past life. He was a man named, I'm going to say the first one wrong. I always get it confused with the Lion King, but Mustafa or Mufasta Kemal, the first president of Turkey. I don't know if he's full-blown, like, doing what I did. I'll have to find that out. And see, a lot of this stuff, I would have asked these questions with Michelle, but that was only 2 weeks ago. But there's so much stuff, like I said, the ear ringing has been just downloading into me nonstop. So I'm like, I have to do this fucking video. Okay, so, and then Lou, I call her Layla Lou, and Lou is like a gender neutral name. So when I just stick to Lou to keep myself from getting in trouble from her. Okay, that's it for that. Let me see what else. So I think maybe they're having walk-ins too. I don't know, but I've told like some of the therapists, and I say some because we each have so many. I got one. I got the psychiatrist, but Layla's got like a team of 4. Josh is going on like 2 or 3. It's insane. The amount of like apps I have to download for either video conferencing or paying for bills or communicating with staff or, all of this. I have so much going on. So many meetings, tests, therapies, forms to fill out, emails to do. Then I got to take care of the kids when they're fucked up. Then I got to do regular shit like cook. I was going to say clean. Just kidding. Cook and straighten. Okay, so let's see here. So yeah, man, going back to me again. I'm not a cougar. I'm not going to be a cougar. I'm not a MILF. I'm just a regular fucking person. And the reason that pisses me off so much, I'm actually kind of relieved, because not only that, okay, here I go. See, I'm all over the place. I'm on Zoloft now, and my vagina has just pretty much shut down. So I don't have that huge sex desire anymore. I don't feel the pressure to go out and, I don't feel, not pressure, that's wrong. So I don't have the desire, so I don't feel like and that bums me out too. I didn't get to use my vagina when it was turned on full blast. Isn't that disappointing? Maybe something will change with that. I don't know, but maybe I can skip a day of meds if the magic day ever shows up. Oh, okay. So back to me and my walk-in bullshit. I've said many times that the guides have said that I took on an especially big role. Even God said I took one for the team. Well, not only do I do this walk-in, and I did this to catch up, because remember Erik / Maurice got killed in that life, so I didn't get to finish my work. And my work with him was a twin flame relationship. So not only did I have a walk-in come, I had a walk-in stay and berate with me. I had to assimilate that shit. It was also not only another incarnation, another energy falling into me. It happened to be a twin flame, which is so challenging on its own. So I had like a triple threat. A walk-in, a braid, and a twin flame. That was like one incarnation. That was like one extra thing. No wonder. And fuck. Okay, so this is another thing. Remember, I don't know if you read that big old Watermelon Day post I made, but I was talking about, I may have done it in the last video too, about how I asked Erik a long, long time ago, years ago, 6 years ago, is Michael my twin? And Erik said, close, not exactly, but close enough, so go with it. And I have been, if you've been following along, how I oscillate back and forth between, I get the boy, I don't get the boy, I get the boy, I don't get the boy. And by boy, I mean boys, fairy girl, fairy boy, and Michael, or just either one, whatever, a twin. And then my last conclusion was, and this is when all my shit was going down, my hands were fucked up, I was breaking down, all this stuff. I had decided no. The reason that we're close enough but not exactly is because I did all the healing through him, but we're not going to have the connection later on. That's what's different. I don't think that's true anymore. I mean, maybe we'll never connect. I still don't know. I can't make any kind of assumptions or have any expectations about that sort of thing. But I decided what that meant, though, was that Michael isn't my twin. Michael is a stand-in twin for Maurice, so Mariana could drop into me and do her work that she didn't get the opportunity to do in the Utah brothel life. So what does that mean for me and Michael? Because Mariana popped into me and my heart unlocked for him, my closest vibrational match. So I don't know, I don't know what's going to happen with me and him, but I feel better trying, kind of understanding what that's, because it always confused me. Close enough, but not exactly. So go with it. And I'm so, I would be more pissed off about that whole, you've already done it, that whole catfishing thing. I've already done Europe. I've already put myself back together. Because I was thinking, how the fuck am I going to travel? I got these fucked up kids. They need me more or the same as they did when they were toddlers. I mean, I've really gone right back to where I started. I'm cleaner now. And by cleaner, I mean like bad energy and false beliefs. I'm a pure version of myself, but it is the same life. And, fuck. What was I going to say about that? I don't know. Let me see if I have a note that will tell me. I don't know. I can't believe I got all... Look, it's only 45 minutes. I thought for sure I'd be talking for 2 hours. I know I got more stuff to say. What's on here? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, I guess I'll wrap this up. I can't believe that. Maybe I'll come back and add something later. I don't know. I doubt it. But I can't wait to go watch that thing about Michelle. In fact, okay, I'll just leave this as is. And after I go reflect on that, I want to hear that big, long message from that entity. I don't know what it is. So maybe I'll come back. Maybe I won't. Either way, let's see. I guess that's it. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm so proud of myself. All right, you guys, I just feel like I'm stopping so abruptly. This just doesn't feel right to me. Let me go up to my nose is itchy. Why is that? What makes my nose itchy is like opiates. I don't have any though. That's too bad. Okay. I'm going to give you a little update with my husband. We're doing better. He goes back and forth, so our drama comes and goes. But I don't feel like, I've mentioned this before and I'm still in the same place. I don't think we'll get a divorce. I do see us becoming friends again. That's happening. I feel still angry at him. I feel angry at the abuse that I've experienced from him our whole lives. He really, again, I say all the time, he really is a good man except for that one thing. But he really is taking ownership in that. And I don't remember if I told you in the last video, but on one of the trips home from Dallas, he's like, why do I do that? Why do I always see the bad in you? Why do I do that? And mostly people. Why do I see the bad in people, mostly you? And it's mostly me because I'm the one he interacts with the most. But not only is he like seeing the bad in people, that's wrong. He's interpreting not bad things to be bad things. So he's really trying to dig deep and find out why he has these misconceptions of people. And that's so big. It's so big to, own your mistakes. When you've been a certain way your whole life, it's really hard to change and grow. And, I do tell him all the time, I try not to be a dick when I tell him, but sometimes we fight and I am a dick. But I don't know. I guess I'm getting kind of tired of this video, but he's receptive sometimes, but not all the time, because that shield of protection, he lives inside of it. He doesn't want to hear how we fucked up again. And I do try to tell him calmly, but he's so resistant that it ends up coming out uglier sometimes. But I have learned to calm down. I really have. That's something that's, I guess, just pure intentionality. I do still yell. I do still get angry, but I don't cry and I don't flip out. I hardly ever cry anymore. Isn't that strange? Me, the girl that cried all the time, hardly ever cries. Okay, so my man and I, we've been together for 30 years in 1 month. So we've been, I want to live out my days with somebody I'm comfortable with. I would like to be his friend. I feel like it's too late in my game to start. It's not. I know it's not, generally speaking. But in my game, I don't want to start all over. I'm comfortable here. I like it. And I don't want to just be comfortable, though. I want to thrive. So I'm okay, I got it. I got to go back. Okay, I know. So with my husband, though, I've been talking for years about divorce, open marriage, this, that, or the other. I've been talking about all that stuff. Well, I don't think I have to have a divorce anymore. I know I don't. God, I don't even remember where I was going with that. I'm so sorry. What the fuck was it? Something with him. I don't know. Oh. I don't know what it was, but I'm just going to be done talking. I got a man out here mowing the lawn. It's going to get real loud. And I'm sorry for the end of this being so shitty. At least the whole thing wasn't shitty. We're back on track. We'll get closer. I don't know what my future is with romance. I don't think it's with him. I still think that there's somebody else. It's probably Michael. It's like I'm not hooking my stars to him in that way, but I'm just using logic, which you really can't use logic and spirituality, but I'm still using it. And also, I'm using like my gut feel, but I don't always trust that because, like I said, I oscillate all the time. And now as far as Fairy Boy goes, I really believe that he was just like my surrogate for Michael, the one that replaced me. I think that she was just in and out just to get him to his next phase. And I think that's what Fairy Boy is for me. I don't even know if I'll see him again, talk to him again or whatever. And I'm okay with that. I can't define my feelings for him, but I wish that there could be some kind of like closure or reconnection to just, I don't know, but if not, whatever. Now, Michael, on the other hand, I still feel like such love for him. And it's kind of like, not only do I want to, fuck. Oh my God, I gotta go. I'm supposed to go pick up Layla right now. I just got a text. Okay, I'm out of here, you guys. I'm sorry for that abrupt ending. Bye. Hi, I'm gonna just jump right in without an intro. I'll make the intro after I record this in case I forget anything. Then I'll put it in front of the other video. Then I'm going to put this video on afterwards. And that video was recorded back in October, and I actually have one also from September. And that's when Michelle came on and gave me a Mac Daddy reading. So I'm going to publish that one next. But that turquoise shirt one, I feel like I can't publish the Michelle one until I did that turquoise one, because I'm not even sure why anymore. It's been so long ago. But I don't want to, I want to just tack them. I'm going to throw everything together as best as I can. I know that I'm missing some stuff. Of course I am. It's been months, so I got to give you the highlights and the cliff notes. So just let me jump right in and quit with the explanations. And I'm sorry for any repeats and all of the regular, bullshit that I do when I record these videos. God, again, I haven't done it in so long. What's today's date? It is January 19th. And like I said, that other one, the one that's tacked onto this in the turquoise, that was in October. So it's been a long time. A lot of things have happened. So I made like a short list of the things that I want to talk about, and I'll just do it in order unless I mess that order up. Okay, so I want to go back to, or just give an update on a lot of things that have been going on that you guys know about, like my kids' health, my family in general, because, family is where we do our inner work with. And that's something that I spoke about with Michelle and Spirit when I had intentions to completely talk about something different, but I was in such a place of distress with my kids that I spent some time focusing on that. But time has passed, and I'm glad to report that my family has found some peace. Now, I don't think that anything it's ever going to be perfect here, because we learn and grow and evolve through one another, so we're going to have challenges. But my husband and I, we're doing much better, and I wanted to share a couple stories of our evolution, just because I've spoken about it before, like the molehills and the mountains. And I had an experience with him. I don't know if I've mentioned it before in my complaints about us, but I feel like, well, I know that, my husband and I will fight about bullshit sometimes. And it's less about what we're fighting about and more about the way we interact with each other. Incorrect assumptions, tone of voice, things like that. And so we're learning how to deal with each other through these small things. And so here's an example, and I'm going to use this because, well, you'll just hear as I share the story. So my husband and I have, we have a teenage son. He's 17 years old, and he's so bad about bedtime. He just gets fixated on something. He hyper focuses on things that he's interested in. And since he was a wee guy, he's autistic. And so transitions are kind of a challenge for him. So I've always given him warnings and reminders. Well, I got tired of it. And I know that he needs to get to bed on time. He wakes up really early. High school schedules, early in the morning till the afternoon. And if he doesn't get his proper sleep, then the whole family suffers from it. And if he stays up too late, then he sleeps in late. He misses the bus, and I have to wake up from my sleep to take him to school. And I'm like, I don't want to do that stuff. So anyway, my husband and I would agree that he needs to get to bed on time. And then somehow, over and over again, this pattern kept happening. My husband would sabotage that. And then he'd, come to me, and I'd be like, no, he has to go to bed. And for whatever reason it was, there's, sometimes there's a legit reason, sometimes there wasn't. But either way, it was never for me about the bedtime. It was about my husband not staying, in that agreement with me. And then when I call him out on it, he gets on me. He's like, what's the big deal? It's just, it's a little bit past bedtime and we're doing whatever. And I'm like, so not only would he like betray the agreement, he'd make me to be the bad guy. And this would happen over and over again. And I'd tell him, listen, it's not necessarily the bedtime. It's that you keep betraying me. Can you please stop betraying me? And I'd think that we'd get it, taken care of. And then it would happen again, the same thing. And I understand about patterns. So I'm like, and I felt I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong, because I think it's totally legit that my kid ought to get to bed at a decent hour. But then I said to myself, well, you know what? If we're using this bedtime as a mere tool to deal with each other, then maybe I am to use that same bedtime as a tool to surrender and give up that control. Because even though, a mother has a right to tell her kid to get to bed on time, it was still creating, conflict. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to surrender this. I'm going to just, I'll go ahead and give him a nudge. Hey, mind the clock, but I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to enforce it. I'm done with that. So I told him that if you do sleep in late because you stayed up too late, I'll take you to school, but you're not going to wake me up early. You wait till I'm awake, then I'll take you. And if you miss class, that's on you. And he's a senior. He's got one semester left, so I don't know how many times this will happen, if at all. But anyway, I washed my hands of it, and I didn't have any more problems with that. But then what happened is, and so I feel like that was just like the representative for me to let go, but I wasn't figuring it out because it was a legit, enforcement of that bedtime. But then something else very similar happened. And my husband and I, he keeps going to my boy and saying, so when do you want to practice driving? You want to practice, when? And he never wants to say when. I go, well, you're the adult. So you tell him we're going driving on this day at this time. So be prepared. And he's like, you're right. I'll do that. So then, when he came up a couple days later, a week later, I don't know when it was, my husband goes up to my son and he says, so do you feel like going driving? And I'll look at him. I'm like, what did we discuss? And then he got mad at me and he like tiptoed all around like what I'm trying to tell him. You betrayed our agreement again. He didn't like the word betrayed. That was too dramatic for him. I'm like, I don't know what else to call it. If we signed a contract, then you would have been in breach of contract, but it's not a contract, so it's a betrayal of your word. And then he would come up with stuff like, well, I was just trying to remember when I was 17 years old and maybe I didn't feel like driving and I'm like, that's moot. So he's really trying to find excuses to let himself off the hook for betraying me. And finally, after all of this going around talk and him like plugging the situation into things that are irrelevant to me anyway, he finally got it. So I see again how a molehill will suffice rather than a mountain. And to me, the mountains are like the real things. Like if my kids were, drinking and driving or, getting into real big trouble, those are mountains that you really got to deal with. But bedtime, that's a molehill. So, and, deciding when you're going to practice driving, that's a molehill. These are little things, but my husband and I still get to work on our dynamic. And so far, he does come to see the light. I'm like, why am I still attracting this shitty stuff? But maybe part of it is just because he needs it a little longer. I don't know. I did that surrender, but then, the repeat experience. However, in a different context, he seemed to get it. So he's also really embraced this kind of like, me teaching about patterns and things like that. It doesn't sound like a bunch of bullshit anymore. I mean, sometimes, he forgets or he gets in a bad mood or whatever, but other times he's like, yeah, I get it. I see what you're saying. And so he wants to be a better person, and I'm not going to give up on that. I see the light at the end of our tunnel. And I still don't think that we will have a conventional, marriage. I think it'll be more like a partnership. I mentioned a while ago something about polyamory. I was all excited to have those two boyfriends, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know if you would necessarily call it polyamory, but I've been seeing articles and I pay attention now because, I find my current assignments in the headlines of the Facebook news feed. And there was some article about people like marrying, but platonically, like best friends that would love to spend every damn day together, but they're not romantic with one another. And that really like takes a big chunk of conflict right out of the relationship. Like one of them was two women, they got married and they were not lesbians. They still dated men and had romantic relationships with men. I don't really know how that would end up like later on because we are still such a traditional society. I mean, how would the other person, like if I were to do that with my husband, how would my boyfriend or my romantic interest, how would he feel about that? I guess it would depend. Maybe he's in a similar situation. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to cohabitate with somebody. I have no idea. Anyway, that's that. So anyway, I think that things are going to be just fine between me and my husband because there has been such a big shift in both of us. So yay for us. Yay. Okay, so my kids, I'm really learning a lot about them. I'm learning about Josh and his autism and his ADHD and about how these things are connected. And I've been doing a lot of mommy stuff, like doing doctor's appointments. And I had my kid, I think I may have mentioned, yeah, I did. He had that study with the thing on his head and he's doing a DNA test. I don't even know what all this shit's for, but he's starting some, program real soon for kids with autism that, are high functioning. You wouldn't know it except for certain social like awkwardnesses on his part. He gets shy and things like that. But you can't, if you just meet him, you don't always know what's going on. He'd be fine. Anyway, it's to teach him social skills. And we had a little meeting online with the guy that's facilitating this program. And he asked my son, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your level of interest in this? Because they don't really want kids there that aren't into it. And he said 8.5. And I was so happy and so proud that he wants to take charge of his life and, learn skills, because a lot of his issues are being very shy and introverted. So for him to choose to want to step out of that comfort zone, to learn how to step out of that comfort zone, I'm really proud of him. So he's doing better. All three of us, me, Bug and Kalash, aka Layla and Josh, we're all on medication. So I see a huge improvement in Josh clash. He's become like this different kid in many ways. He'll just bust out and say, I'm happy. I love it. It warms my heart. He's become very affectionate and loving. He just cuddles up with me in the couch. And one day I'm like, baby, I gotta go get the chicken. He goes, no, mom, no. I had to go put the chicken away. And he goes, I need more hugs and kisses. Just so sweet. This is about a 17-year-old teenager that wouldn't even let me hug him for years. And I asked him why. He goes, I think it's an autism thing and I don't know why I feel better about it. But he's such a little cuddler, so I'm just eating that up. So he's doing better. He and his, and Bug, they're like best friends. They're always cuddled and tangled on the couch. They're so sweet. Okay, and Bug and her eating disorder, she's gone through the whole program. It was almost 6 months exactly, from like August 6th to January 6th was her release. And she still has a dietitian and she still has a therapist outside of that. It was called the Eating Recovery Center, ERC, I may refer to it. So she's got care outside of that, but she's done with that program. And she does still struggle sometimes. The cause of the eating disorder was mostly anxiety, and it manifested in, the eating problems. So she still has anxiety, and it is a bit of a problem. And it kind of like jumped back up because, when she left the structure and collective discipline of the group and went back to school, to a place in which, she was bullied, and now there's less structure, and, she kind of is in a period of adjustment. So she regressed a little bit, but she'll pull through. And I know I'm saying she when she's a they, but she cuts me some slack because she's fluid, and sometimes she'll come downstairs with like a mustache painted on her. So cute. Hello, sir. But so the three of us are doing better. I know I'm doing much better, at least mentally. I got it. Well, let's see here. So I'll go ahead and segue into my physical. Okay, so I know I talked about that walk-in stuff in that other video I just did. And like I said, that was done in October. Well, I'm still amazed at myself. I still keep thinking, I can't believe I was walking. I can't believe I did that. I feel like such a superhero. What a fucking challenge that was. That was nuts. It was nuts. I used to I used to call it the crazy when I'd write to Michael, the crazy. And I would always say, I will never not trip the fuck out on what happened to me. And I didn't really have a word for it. I still can't believe I didn't put together that it was a walk-in. But let me talk about that a little bit, because it's relevant for a couple other things I want to talk about. When it comes to my health, now I don't know if this is true or not, but when I started this journey, like when Erik entered my life back in 2013, 14, I was just drawn, and, I didn't know it at the time. I thought, I didn't know that I was maybe channeling it or following, clues from my higher self or what, but I just decided to get off my medication. I weaned myself off all of the brain drugs, my anxiety, depression, anything that had to do with, psycho shit, I got rid of. And my reason for that, I believed at the time, which is kind of true actually, was because I started to get into the ghost shows and meditating a little bit. And I wanted to open my third eye and experience whatever third eye experiences were out there for me. So that was my motivation. And I believe now in retrospect that I needed to have those medicines out of my brain so that I could become crazy and have Mariana's consciousness drop into me. And then once that integration was complete, that's when my mental health really took a crash. And I had those 2 breakdowns last summer. And now I'm back on medication, the same medication I was on before my awakening, before my experience with Erik and all of this woo shit. So I feel like, I remember how I said, I was so pissed when Erik said, you're finally remembering who you are, or some shit like that. I think I've come back to who I am. I'm Carrie again. I've kind of mentioned this before, but I think I feel like I'm, picked up where I left off before. And so now, again, I'm this frumpy housewife raising 3 kids. And now I start this journey again. And what I'm working on now, one of my current assignments, is my physical health. I got my brain going okay, but my body is so fucked up. And years ago, I don't know, I can't even remember because things are a blur. I got to talk about that. I used to have like the best memory ever. My friends would call me, message me, whatever. Hey, help me remember blah, blah, blah. But I can't do it anymore. It's like I have a clear before and after. Now I feel like I have a before and after and then another after. I'm at the another after right now after the integration. But I was once diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and that's a really hard diagnosis to get because there is no test for it. The way it's diagnosed is through the process of elimination, and I did all that. I was tested for neuropathy, and I don't even know what else because, like I said, it was 10 years ago. I've switched doctors and insurances many times since then, so I don't even know if that's in my record or not. I may have to go through the process of elimination once more. But my body is so incredibly sore. Like my shoulder, this hurts me. Anything, it's not just my shoulder, it's all the way down, my elbow. It's the whole like, and then my leg too. If I want to lift my leg on this side, any kind of anything, it hurts from like where my, I don't know body parts, but where my leg and my hoo-hoo meet right there, all the way down to like my knee when just lifting my leg. Like if I want to stand up, any kind of movement hurts. It hurts. Like if be quiet, I'm not interested in you. A scam. Any movement hurts. And on the other side, my left side, do you remember me talking about the tumor I had in my ass? I was always like showing it off. It was like a conversation piece to me. And it was like the size of a golf ball. And then it developed a twin that was much littler. So I had like these two like little tumors in my ass, and they didn't really hurt except sometimes sitting on the potty. It would like push in, not a big deal. But then it started to hurt more and more. And but the hospitals say, don't have any elective surgeries until this corona bullshit dies down. But now it's become very painful, and I can't feel the size of them. It doesn't feel like a golf ball and a smaller ball anymore. And I don't know if it like flattened out or if it's pushed into my flesh more. I don't know, but it is very painful. And because I'm all like messed up with my equilibrium when walking funny, I have such a tightness in my neck here. Have you ever experienced that really tight like rubber band snap and you feel like you broke your neck and you're frozen until it chills out? I experienced that a lot too. That trigger something or other, that new like nerve issue I'm having. It's like a trigger, the nerve pain. I'm getting worried about that because it's not necessarily getting like worse, but it's becoming more frequent. It's almost always there. And I feel like I don't want to just sit here and complain. That's not my style, but about my physical ailments. So I don't even know why I am spending so much time on it. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, I feel like my body has gone into overdrive fucked upness. I feel like I have arthritic in my fingers. Look at my skin looks pretty good, but it's not. I'm just like hyper treating it. I keep like scalding it in the hot water, and it's like so painful, but such a relief. I'm like, and Bug will walk by and say, Mom's having another orgasm, because it's basically what it is. It's like all my nerve endings electrify of my whole like upper half of my body, and it feels so good, even though my hands are like, they're on fire. It hurts. It's weird. Okay, so that's my health stuff. So I feel like, Fairy Girl's like, I'm going to crank this shit up because you're going to go take care of yourself. Another thing, I think that I'm having gallbladder issues. That's genetic. My mom had hers removed, and I was so sick one weekend. I signed up for urgent care, and the first available appointment was like 3.5 days later. And by the time it was my appointment time, I went there, I felt better. And they said, we really can't do anything for you here. We can't do an ultrasound. You'll just waste your money. So I kind of blew that off, but I have, I didn't blow it off. There was nothing to do. So I have a doctor's appointment, a couple weeks, and I'm going to just start getting myself fixed. I'm doing a dietitian. I'm doing it all. I'm going to become the new and improved on the outside too. And I'm looking forward to that. However, at the same time, I'm just so intimidated to start that not start the journey, just make the fucking phone calls to get that ball rolling. I don't know why I'm so intimidated by that. Okay, so let me tell you something else about that walk-in, what it has like kind of affected me in a weird way, maybe. I don't know. One of the things that Erik told me, and I don't know if it was with Michelle in that reading or not, I can't remember, but he told me that you're going to stop crying as much as you once did. And that has happened. Remember how like when I'd be not channeling, but interviewing like with Heather or Allison, and I would just like the aliens would come in and I'd just start crying because the energy affected me in such a profound way. I mean, it wasn't sad, it wasn't happy, it was just the energy next to me. And I'd go, wait a minute, hang on. That's gone. And listen to how fucking weird this is. I can't even believe this shit. Don't forget who I am. I am Carrie, the girl who wears her emotions like jewelry. Well, I'm going to talk about my brother for a little bit. I have like kind of some drama. I would almost call it gossip, but when it's your own story, it's not gossip. It's a drama though. It's a drama story time. But when I found out my brother died, I made that post in my group and saying that we were suspicious, or I was suspicious, or we were, that it was like an accidental overdose because he had unlabeled Walgreens pill bottles next to his bed. And he also, he had some injuries. So he had a reason to want to take painkillers. And the day he died, he was actually in a pretty good mood. He came home from taking his friend to work. And he was staying with my mom at the time. And I guess they had lasagna the night before. So he got into that. And he made a comment to mom that, it always tastes better the next day because it's soaked up all the whatever flavor. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go take a nap. And that was his usual. And my mom has made the mistake of going in and woken him up before he was ready to wake up and, got snapped at. So this time she left him alone. And dark had fallen, and so she did get a little worried. So she went in there and looked at him and saw, and to her it was clear. And so I was in shock. And that post I wrote said, I don't know how I feel yet. I don't know how I feel. And I kept waiting for like the reality to set in and, have my big cry about it. But it never happened. I didn't fucking cry for my brother who died. Isn't that weird? And we're not especially close. We were when he was little, and we just grew up, and his tribe that way and my tribe this way. And to be honest, many of you that are watching this are on your own path of evolution, and it's really hard to resonate with those that don't follow that same journey as you. And while he had like he believed in like the same stuff I did, more or less. He didn't have like the same understanding I do. And so it was, I don't know, we just didn't always like mesh. And I don't mean to say we fought or anything. It's just I don't know, just different understandings. But we were friendly with one another, and I loved him. He was like my little baby when he was little. I was 10 years older than him, and I just adored him. And so for me to not cry was just so interesting. I couldn't figure it out. And it was either I was like, okay, it's either going to happen eventually, or I have such an understanding of what death really means, nothing but a transition, that I'm okay with it. I was actually very happy for him. And keep in mind that I didn't see him very often, once or twice a year, maybe. So I won't miss the physicality of him. It's not like I saw him every day and then all of a sudden I'm not going to see him every day. So I won't really miss having his presence here. And I absolutely understand that as I'm giving this message right now that he's probably right next to me. Would that be cool if there was an orb in the video? Greg, you want to give an orb? That'd be so cool. So I'm glad for him to have peace, because I know, unlike me, he didn't have a second parent. He never met his dad. So his mother was his only parent, our mother. And she wasn't very nice. So I'm going to use this to segue into what happened with me and my mom. Oh, wait, no, not yet. That's coming up soon, because I also wondered if a possibility of why I did not cry and become very emotional. I do believe that part of it was what I just said. That makes sense to me. But when you have this walk-in experience, you often like you're still you know who your people are, but you no longer feel the same about them. It's like you have memories of these people, but you no longer feel the same connection that you once did. Now that happens with people who, who walk in and then walk out. This new consciousness does have memories, but they're not attached to them. But I didn't walk out. So I'm not sure if that's it or not. I don't know. I mean, could it be that Carrie and Carrie Anna, have become so evolved that death doesn't faze them? And I wonder, wonder if I lost someone near and dear to me. I'd lose my shit. Wonder if one of my babies died. I think I'd understand it a lot better, but no, I wouldn't be as chill as I was with my brother. Clearly, I would really like to have him on my show and get his take on our life and, a bigger picture of the dynamic that we shared in the family with mom, etc. So now let me move on to mom because, I like to make things all about me. But for reals, Greg is gone. Well, Greg's body's gone and he's doing okay up in heaven. So let me just talk about the experience of his death and what it meant for me and my evolution. This is my take, what I learned. Besides all that mystery and having like validation that, yeah, man, I've chilled out. So my mom, she called my phone and I thought I recognized the phone number, but I do remember that there was another phone number that was always similar to hers. I can't remember whose it was, but anyway, I never answer my phone anyway. So I didn't answer. And then immediately afterwards, my husband's phone rang and he answered it and my mom is hysterical and she tells him what happened. So a couple days later, family starts flying in. There was only 3 family members that came, my aunt and my uncle. And then my cousin, who is not the daughter of the aunt and uncle, but it's her aunt and uncle too. So the 3 of them fly in and I could just like go on and on about how petty my mom was about all this stuff. Like I invited my cousin to stay with me because my house is much bigger. I have, she could have this room here with her own bathroom right here. It's just so much more space. But when my mom found out, she took it as like I was stealing all of her guests away. And I'm like, Mom, I really don't care. I'm just trying to, be kind. She can stay with you. And to be honest, I like my space. I prefer to have my space. So I felt, I was glad. I was like, okay, no, you keep her. I love her, but I like my space. And so then I went back and picked up my aunt and uncle too. Anyway. And this is an aunt uncle that actually unfriended me many years ago, kind of when I was losing my shit. And I have no idea why, but I was absolutely judged by them. My uncle, when I had my pictures I posted of me and Michael when I was in Belgium, my uncle makes a comment about, oh, say hi to your husband for me. What a dick. Why would he do that? Just trying to start trouble. So I said, oh, I will. Isn't he sweet to use his vacation time to stay home and watch the kids while I flew around the world to come and meet my twin flame? Fuck you. Fuck you and your fucking judgy shit. Got real turned off again. I feel like and I'm not like, you heard me just mouth off, but I really don't care that much anymore. I was very cordial and kind to them, but I heard later on from my mom that I was being mocked a little bit. And I don't know if that's true or not because my mom's so full of shit, but she mocked me. She sure did. But first, I went to go pick up my cousin from her house to drive her to the airport after all was said and done. And my mom, when I was there, she thanked me. She goes, thank you for, writing that really nice obituary. My favorite part was when you said that Greg was up in heaven drinking his ghost beer and rubbing on Karma's belly, who is his dog that passed. So she just got done telling me how much she liked the comment about being in heaven, ghost beer, etc., etc. And then we start talking about the restaurant that they all went out to eat one day. And anyway, it doesn't matter what that conversation was about. exactly, other than that it was in a town nearby. And I told my cousin, I said, that's the town, because it's a really cute touristy town. I go, that's the town where that really awesome orb of mine was taken. And she was like, huh? So I pulled it up on my phone real quick. And I know you, if you're watching the show, you know which picture I mean. If not, go look at my wall and see it. It's badass. So I showed it to her, my cousin, and I go, I've been told it's either Archangel Michael or Erik, but I don't know who it is. So then, because my mom's there, I just showed it to her real quick. And she's like, that stuff's not real. It's just a speck of dust in the lens. And, I was like, I would really appreciate it. You don't have to support me, but please don't mock my work. And she blew up at me, and she yelled at me and told me that she didn't appreciate me talking about my ghosts and spirits when she just lost her son. She opened the back door and said, fuck off, and slammed it on me. So like within 10 minutes, she loved the obituary story. Then I was being disrespectful to her by talking about spirits. So you may say, well, she did just lose her kid, cut her some slack. She's not herself. But that's the exact way that we parted ways the last time we parted ways. But nobody died on that day. In fact, that was Mother's Day. And I had invited her over to my house, and I made her a fancy brunch, lobster, the works. And she started insulting my kids. And I said, please don't talk to my kids this way. And she was, oh, I know. I go, please don't call him names. And she goes, I didn't call him a name today. She didn't do it today. She was rude, but she didn't call him a name today. And I go, well, he knows what you mean by that. He knows you're being rude to him. And she goes, I don't need to take this shit. Fuck off. And walked out the door and slammed it. So it does, it doesn't matter if her kid just died or she just gets served a fancy champagne brunch. She's going to tell me to fuck off anyway. So for me, this was my opportunity to see how much I had grown and evolved. And as she's slamming the door, I know she didn't hear me. And I said, thanks for letting me go so quickly. Because it had only been 4 days since our reunion when I gave her a hug and said, hi, how you doing? So just to keep sharing my gossip, my story about her, because it's cathartic for me and because it's so interesting that she can be so fucking nuts. So then like a month later, I guess, I'm assuming what happened was she got the autopsy report back, and the report was that his heart went out based on some bad drugs. I'm assuming he got fentanyl or something. I don't know, but I still don't know. But my mom finds some random old post in which my brother tagged me in, and she commented, this is like 4 years ago, she commented like a month ago, yelling at me. I can hear it as I read it, to quit telling everybody that he died from an overdose. He didn't die from an overdose. He died from a heart attack of bad drugs. And I'm like, what's the difference? What's the difference? Fucked up drugs are fucked up drugs, and they fucking killed him. So, she's like picking on me about this. And not only that, we had spoken about it. We had both agreed that maybe it was fentanyl. And, and I also said in my post, I'm not sure what happened. I won't know until we get an autopsy report. This is all just speculation that I'm making up based on clues and logic. And she really let me have it. And so I answered her back a little bit. And I didn't get too sucked into it, but I forgot a really good part of the story. Got to back up, because when I took my cousin to the airport, we stopped off and had lunch first. And at the dinner table, my mom texts me the message she meant to text my aunt. So I totally busted her in a huge lie. Her version of what happened was so far off from the truth. I can't believe it. She told my aunt that I blew up at her and there were words between us and we got a huge fight. And I'm like, it wasn't a big fight. You yelled at me, told me to fuck off, and I left. Nobody blew up but you. God, she's nuts. Okay. So, I'm like, and you busted yourself. I already know that, what you are spewing, and I wonder if you really believe your bullshit. And I'm like, quit lying about me. And I'm like, you know what? Go ahead and lie. I don't care who you tell about me anything. I know I said that sentence wrong. I wrote it right, but I just, I'm like, I have no more fucks to give. You go ahead and spew your lies. Because at first I was like, I don't want my aunt thinking that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. They unfriended me. What the fuck do I care? They judged me without knowing my story. Fuck them. And it's so sad because, I mean, I loved them. I loved them. And I was just, it was okay seeing them, but I'm so indifferent. So I feel like, again, maybe that walk-in just made me feel like I don't need any part of that anymore. I don't know. Because I don't think they're unkind people, but I feel like they felt like my stability. They were the parents that I never had. They were the marriage. They were the, and then they ditched me too. So, I understand that it's all part of my evolution, but I don't know. It doesn't mean that, and I can forgive it and I can move on, but it doesn't mean that I have to put myself back into that place of dealing with people that once treated me in an unfair way. So I interacted a little bit with my mom, and then on another post, similar, I don't know it was another one of my brothers way from a long time ago, she let me have it again. And I'm like, God, you're just making yourself look like an asshole. I didn't, I'm not your enemy. I didn't kill Greg. Stop attacking me. And then she went in again and called me a fraud and that my magical rocks didn't save anybody. And she goes, yeah, my sisters both laughed when I told them the story. You told me that our parents came in holding hands in one of your readings, and they did. And that my mom doesn't understand that on the flip side, it's not the same. You often contract with the people you love the most to come to earth and, break your heart and create challenges for you. But back on the flip side, there's love again. And there's no point in describing or explaining any of this. But what else is also interesting in my fucking psycho mom's mind is that in this paragraph, she's bitching at me. She goes, yeah, you're so poor me. And I'm thinking, when did I ever express poor me? I am like the biggest advocator of self-empowerment and being a victim to no one that I have ever met. So I feel like she's projecting a bit. And then she said, and just admit it, you never checked on me. You never called me. You never answered my phone. And she's really laying it on thick about what an absentee daughter I've been, which is true. I have been, but so she's been an absentee mom, so it's not like I've done anything that she didn't do. And then in the same paragraph, she flips it and says, don't you dare contact me again. And I'm like, didn't you just get done scolding me for not contacting you? What the fuck, man? It's the same thing with the obituary. She loved the story. Then I can't talk about the same exact thing. She's like that all the time. In fact, when I was going to move out of her house when I was 15 years old to go live with my dad, I was already packed. I was ready to go. I was moving the next day. So that night I did not obey my curfew. I'm like, what's she going to do? Ground me? Sure enough, I get home late and she goes, that's it. I'm sending you to live with your father tomorrow. It's like, I'm already gone. You don't get to tell me to not contact you. I quit contacting you a long time ago, as the previous sentences out of your own mouth said. She's nuts. And you know how, with me and my trauma, I turned in like a teenager when I was Marianne. I was such a pathetic, desperate teenager. Blah. So clearly that's, where a big part of my trauma was at that age, because I relived it now. And my husband, I mentioned those popsicle sticks, that little thing, which, I see a lot of his traumas. They're coming out like little boy traumas, feeling abandoned when his dad left. But my mom's trauma, she's like so quick to fire up that I feel like her trauma started even earlier than that. Like she was 3 years old or something, because it's so tantrumy. She is incapable of having an adult conversation if it involves anything that she doesn't want to hear or agree with or anything else. She just can't. She'll get up, yell at you, slam the door on your face, and tell you to fuck off. And reading these messages that she posted about me on Facebook, I've been blaming my husband for years about creating the trauma in me, about blaming me for something I haven't done, because I knew my mom never accepted accountability. But reading this stuff, it sounded just like her. And I'm like, this lady must have been doing it all along. So even though my husband does it now, I understand that he's doing it so that I can finally heal from a lifetime of her doing it. I mean, she blamed me for not saving my brother. Hello? I mean, that's not how energy healing works. You know, she called me a fraud. She was just she's so mean to me. I'm her fucking last surviving kid. All she has to do is not tell me to fuck off and she can have a relationship with her grandkids. But she can't even do that. So that, you know, that was the final showdown with her. I don't know. I might have other things to say about her. I don't know. I don't care. Okay, so let me move on. Now, this is a really other juicy, gossipy story, but because it's my story, it's not gossip. And I really refrained from talking about this for a long time. At first, it was because I wanted to be respectful of somebody else's business, even though it was my business too. But then I chose to not talk about it because I didn't want to feed it any energy. But it didn't matter how much I ignored it. It came coming back at me. And by it, I'm referring to the love bomber. And I still don't even want to say his name. No holds barred now. I'm done being respectful. I'm done trying to consider him and his feelings because this guy has crossed the line into creepy fucking stalker. So I hope you remember who I'm talking about. This guy, and you remember when I was talking about him a couple summers ago, I would refer to when I think about him like wading through wading, wading through a pool filled with vomit, or sticking my open raw wounds hand into a steaming pile of dog shit. This man, the thought of him repulsed me. I mean, I was like, he's so nasty to me. And I figured out why. I learned that this life here, I'm not the only one who has bleed over from that brothel life. There's other people that have recreated circumstances such as I did. And so, yeah, did I say it in that? Okay, I want to just, love bomber. But I want to just make sure, if I didn't say it in the other video, I wanted to reiterate that while Carrie's parents did not die, and I did not have to become a sex worker to support my siblings, I did create similar traumas, similar false beliefs about myself, so that when Mariana did jump in, the traumas would be familiar to her. It wasn't like way off on left base, something completely different. So even though it wasn't quite the same kind of false beliefs were already built in, so that when she jumped in, we can work on our same problems together. I feel like I did her whole life over again. Okay, anyway, let's keep going with the love bomber, because he was one of the people back in that other life. He was there. And in that life, apparently, he was very disgusting. He was disgusting. So, and I'm not like faulting him for that. I understand that as a soul, we choose to have the packages we're born in, and there's a reason for it. You know, like me and my body, I fully believe that one of the reasons I have this body dysmorphia, one of the reasons I'm so damn chubby, is because in that life as Mariana, I was valued for what I looked like and what my body can do for others. So it's, so that's carried over. And it wasn't because, I was a prostitute this time around, although, I did have those kinds of experiences being used and abused by men. And I also had the diet culture. I also had the TV and doctors and all kinds of other stuff dump that garbage on me, telling me that I needed to lose weight in order to be, healthy or attractive or whatever else. So he too, in that life, I was disgusted by him then. So that carried over. So that explains to me why I have this, this ick about him. And the reason I'm feeling comfortable with sharing this now is because I have blocked this guy and he creates another account. And he makes no secret about it. He'll make sure I know that it's him, and he'll send me messages, and I'll block that account. Then he would go to my website and email me. I didn't realize it was him though, so I replied, and that opened up a whole new can of worms. Soon after that, he sent me a link to it was like an Airbnb link to go on a vacation with him. And all I had to do was click and add my name and show up at the time and place. Not interested. So not only that, he has sent me money in my PayPal account. He sends me like hundreds of dollars at a time, and I send it right back. I don't want your money. I'm not a prostitute. You can't buy me. You disgust me. I've blocked him through my phone. I blocked him on my website. I keep blocking his bogus accounts on Facebook, although I bet he has another one that he finally figured out that he has to be covert. Otherwise, I'm going to block him again. But he started sending me emails. Now he's, I've since blocked him, but I can't block from my phone, and I'm not really in this area very often doing computer work. So he managed to sneak in 3 videos, dick pics, dick videos. He's fucking sending me masturbation videos. Again, don't forget that I've blocked him, returned money, ignored vacation, blocked him again, returned more money. I flat out told him I don't think we're ever going to see each other again. Who the fuck does he? I'm not a prude, but I don't want to see your dick. Stop. Leave me alone. Not only that, he moved 1,000 miles closer to me than from where he used to live. He can drive to my house in a matter of hours, half a day, less than half a day, less than 4 hours. I figured out where he lived from this. I didn't really want to, but I was a little nervous. I knew he lived near me, but I wanted to know how close. I guess 4 hours is better than 1 hour, but ew. If he contacts me one more time in any way, I'm filing a report. I don't know what else to do. I don't necessarily feel unsafe because I feel like that's a path, an experience I don't need to have, like of being unsafe. But at the same time, it's like, how much more can I do besides not feeding it energy to get rid of this guy? In fact, I was told a long time ago, like a year ago, I don't know, cut cords. Well, I went beyond that, because you can cut cords any way you want. It's just imagining it. Well, I went and I grabbed his artwork out of my desk that had just stacked up there. It's okay. He actually does really nice doodles. But I crinkled them up and I put them on my barbecue grill. I didn't even make it like a nice, ceremonious fire pit. I put it right on my fucking barbecue and burned that shit. Fuck off. Leave me alone. So maybe this guy needs to be humiliated publicly. Are you guys friends with him still? Because he's yucky. He's sending me masturbation videos, showing me his dick. It's nasty. I can't believe it. I've never known somebody on I've never known somebody on a spiritual path to go backwards so far, but that's not true because, we've all seen a few of our, extended soul family lose their shit here and there. But fuck, man, why would you ever think that would turn me on? I'm not interested in you. So maybe he has like some, I don't know. Maybe he has a wish to be humiliated. I'm tempted to put the fucking videos on my wall, but I'm afraid he might like it. I'd do it to, humiliate him, but he might like it. Ugh. Okay, so done with that for now. Hopefully I don't have any more stories about him. Can you believe that? You know what I'm talking about, right? Remember all those nice posts he'd make and how everybody was like, oh, thank you for sharing. You're so inspirational. Good for you. He went down. Okay, so another thing, I decided, I keep thinking, I wish I could just, sometimes I want to reach out to Michael and tell him about this walk-in thing and ask him, did you ever suspect that? Did you put it together? How could I not put it together? I wonder if maybe he did. I think that it would help. He'll figure it out one day. I know I'll connect with him one day, but I want him to know. I want him to know I was so crazy and weird. I think he'll think I'm a superhero too, because, he was on the other side of this craziness. But with Michael, I don't want to reach out to him because it's not that I don't want to. If the urge comes on strong enough, I will, but it's not. I never feel like, every time I write to my 20s or whatever, I feel like if I'm meant to, I'll send it. If not, I won't. I can't mess up. I can't fuck that up. But I don't want to write to him, even though I kind of do. I just want him to have his life. And when he's ready to come back to me, then the universe can figure out a way to make that happen. But with Fairy Boy, let me back up to a few years ago. It's right when we've kind of, well, not first connected, but first connected in a romantic way. Because remember, I had known him for a whole year first. And one of the things that Erik had said to me about him was that he won't be enough for me. And when I passed this on to Fairy Boy, that's when things really revved up, because he's like, oh no, I will definitely be enough for anybody. So, things got really hot and heavy then. But now in retrospect, I think Erik tricked us to make us both feel like it had to do with sex. But fast forward to recently, within the past 6 months, I don't know. Erik told me that, if I ever see him again, I won't care like I once did. And that has happened. And I'm disappointed about that, because, man, I spent a couple years just having my, stars and heart-shaped stars in my eyes for this guy. This is all, like when you fall in love with somebody, they're like super beautiful. Well, he still has this super beautiful body as far as I know, and he has a nice face. He does, sometimes. But it doesn't draw me like it once did. And so I don't know. It's interesting. That part's interesting to me, because his beauty is one of the things that really helped me evolve, trying to feel like I had to not compete with it, but match it. I had to have the body, and he was pretty, and I felt old and tattered, so I had to deal with that. And that's another thing I didn't plan on talking about, but perhaps I will. Anyway, to make a long story short, I went ahead and I wrote him a really, really nice letter. I described about, basically what I've been talking about, Mariana, and what happened the walk-in, why I went so nuts, and I wondered how much my experience and him agreeing, his soul self agreeing to help me, how much it changed the path of his life. And I thanked him and told him that, I'm no longer in love with you, but I do have a special spot in my heart, because this is true. It's special to me that he played that role, and it makes me feel like in some other when or place that he's special enough to me to go ahead and allow him to break my heart. I know that's a little bit nuts, but you get it. And so at the very end of the letter, I said, if you feel comfortable, if you're interested, then reach out to me. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next life. And he left me hanging. And I didn't feel rejected. I mean, he read it, but I didn't feel rejected in any way, but I felt disappointed. It made me feel like, ew, he really is like one of those guys from my past, and that just blew me off. And I felt disappointed in him. And there could be a dozen reasons why he did not write me back or, anything. But it doesn't matter. It only matters. My interpretation is the only thing that matters. And I interpret it as being just kind of dicky. I mean, if I got a letter like that, I would be like wishing the other person well. Thank you for saying kind things, and I wish you well in your life too. It was nice knowing you. Yes, see you in the next life. But I got nothing. And I was like, ew. I know damn well that if I wrote to Michael that even, he only really responds in like fortune cookie sentences, he would respond. Which is ironic, because he was the one that wouldn't say anything, and Fairy Boy was the one that would have like 3-hour Skype conversations with me. Those two have reversed. Okay, so, and then I'm still like feeling so very connected to Michael. I love him, and I can't even describe it. I mean, sometimes it does feel like I'm in love with him, although I have no expectation. I don't, it's like I'm still torn, because even though I will not be the reason for a breakup, I know I won't be. I'm not going to be a part of that stuff. But I don't want that for him. And us being together will require that. So I'm really torn. I really do want him back, though. I want him back in my life. I want my person back. I want my friend back. I want my twinnie back. And I really don't care in what capacity it is. I don't care. I'm completely indifferent. I will be like Sister Carrie, Mama Carrie, whatever, Lover Carrie. I don't care. I'll just want my friend back. I want my Michael. Okay. So so the other thing when I was like, veering off in this a little bit, feeling old and tattered, that's it. Again, I'll say, I'll video well, I'll photograph well, but, I don't necessarily photograph well, I just edit well. I'm a big cheater. I'm still fine with that. But I think that may be one of my assignments too, is, like owning the sexiness, attractiveness, and beauty of an older woman. And have you seen that meme going around the internet? And it's got like the Sex and the City girls current day and then the Golden Girls, and they're like the same age when those pictures were taken, but the Golden Girls are clearly grandmas, and the Sex and the City bitches, they're sexy bitches. They got, they got it going on. So part of my transformation, like my health and stuff, hopefully, okay, I'm manifesting that I kind of, reverse the whole aging process, or at least slow it down a bit. Or if not, then just learn, I guess, because, I don't think I have enough core belief for myself to do it. I think it's possible, but for me to rewire that core belief to say I can like go backwards, I don't know if I have it in me. So, but what I do have in me is to learn how to embrace who I am now. And like me, in all that other video, I'm fine the way I am. I'm just a regular mom. I have embraced that. I'm still not where I want to be with my body, but whatever. That'll happen when it happens. As it happens, because I have a true desire to become, I guess, more healthy. I don't know how, I don't want to be I don't want to be a health nut, that's for damn sure, but I don't want my body to hurt anymore, and it hurts. And I know that food plays a huge role in how you feel. So because I have all these different ailments and stuff, I'm, like I said, I'm going to get a dietitian going, and I'm going to defer to her expertise so that I can have like a meal plan for myself and really learn how to feed myself. Okay. I believe that I may have taken care of everything I wanted to take care of today, at least close enough. Okay, I almost said I'm gonna hang up. I'm going to go ahead and shut down on this one. Thank you for watching such a long video, and stay tuned because I'll get that other one with Michelle soon published. I got a brand new computer for my anniversary back on the 27th, but I haven't. I'm back on the 27th of September of 2021, months ago. But because those other two videos are in this computer, I haven't even been allowed to play with my new toy yet. So I gotta release the Michelle video and this one, and then I can open up my new toy. All right, you guys, thanks again for following along and waiting so long and loving on me and supporting me, and I don't know. All right, that's it. I'm gonna be quiet now. Thanks for watching. Bye.